Okay, all right. We got a nice new diagnostic case here. I had a lot of good feedback from the last one. So this one was interesting because the car went to the dealership, and before that it was at a transmission shop. And this is a BMW 3 Series. The complaint was that it wouldn't come out of gear and the transmission light was on. And so in other words, when you get in a car, you step on the brake, the shifter is supposed to release to get it out of park, and this car wasn't doing that. He spent about $1,000 or $1,500 at the dealer. He spent about $1,000 or $1,500 at a transmission shop, and then he came to us. He was frustrated, and it wasn't working, and didn't find it that difficult. But I'll show you. I had made a little video of what I did to simulate the computer. But a couple of people liked the fact that I drew little diagrams. Might be cute. Fixed my hair this time too. Also wanted to show you on the diagrams first, explain how I figure this stuff out. It's kind of fun and interesting. This is the cool part of the business. And then of course it's even more fun to confirm your theory. So I start out by analyzing the situation. And then I have a conceptual view of things. I kind of, like in my mind, picture the stuff that I'm about to draw. So maybe that'll also help somewhere along the line with the diagnostic. So basically, the first problem occurred. This is the transmission here. This is the transmission computer. It's actually inside the transmission on modern day cars. And these are little pins that come out. And these pins, this is the connector that goes up to the body of the car. The wires run inside here and they come out in these little pins. The first mistake happened, I think, with the transmission shop, and it's a known issue. This is a square part, the sleeve. This is removable, and to remove the computer and service underneath, you have to get the sleeve out. So I think what happened is the transmission shop, was we noticed this sleeve wasn't fully seated. So if this sleeve isn't all the way in, then these wires and this connector aren't all the way in. And so these wires never fully connect. And there isn't like full penetration of these wires. There isn't, And so I think by the transmission shop, that was the first place. They started by doing a transmission service and created this problem. And then they were trying maybe to figure out what's going on. Why is the car not shifting? And then they started probing with maybe a power, like a test light or something like that, or maybe forcing power into it. So I made this little diagram to show you. So here you have the transmission computer, right? And you have the two wires that go to the shift lock, this little motor that unlocks the shifter. So you have two wires, power, ground, whatever, no big deal. For simplicity's sake, this is a battery. I think what they did, and I know this is a very big mistake, a lot of people that don't understand electricity perfectly, where they want to test power that comes to this, or they want to try and energize the actuator, and they pierce it, because I saw a little hole in the wire. They pierce it, they just puncture the wire and send power to the actuator. The problem is they don't have a full understanding that when you're sending power this way, all power is also going that way, and it can internally damage the circuit of the computer, whatever is on this side. So an experienced technician knows better not to pierce this and do it. If you want to do it, you have to disconnect, separate the two. Then you could bring power, and it's only going to energize this way. It can't go and damage the computers. That's a big rule, number one, when working with electrical stuff. So that's number one. Now, number two, that was the first mistake. Someone damaged the transmission computer, and they didn't have it plugged in. And so the other misunderstanding is the BMW uses this FRM. This module basically receives the light signals. It controls the lights in the car. So when you step on the brake, it gets a signal that the brake is on. And then the interesting thing is it sends it on a bus line, a communication line to other, it distributes that information to the whole car, whatever is on that bus and whatever needs that information. That's why they call it a bus line. It's kind of interesting. So the signal goes on here, and it says brakes are on, and it sends it to the transmission computer. The transmission computer says, okay, if the brake is on, then I'm going to release the shift lock. So you can see how important this module is. Now, you'll see in my other video where in the initial diagnostic, I was suspicious that something was wrong here, even though when I was watching the data and I was stepping on the brake, it looked like it was receiving a signal. Just wasn't confident that it was being transferred or communicated to the other modules as well. And so this was suspicion number 2. So real important that when I did go to check it out, I realized that I tried to program it to the car thinking maybe it got corrupted, someone tampered with it, but it would not code to the car because it said it's just not compatible with the car. So at some point, someone put a wrong FRM or incompatible FRM into the car, and that was also causing a problem with the shift lock. So there was 2 problems, one created by technician, actually technically another one that happened by another human error. So this car had to be fixed by 2 issues.